to grow and to prosper due to some environment factors. If a pretty fertile land or rivers were available, these sustained food and expansion for the community, created a pretty stable place where people started to develop new technologies. Empires across the world started to form, and speaking about the African continent, in the north was a place where Greek civilizations prospered. Ancient Egypt was a strong kingdom. It managed to develop in time. But how did it do it? Let's look here. There is a river, a large one. The Nile was the reason. Also in the north, some fertile lands provided a good place for Phoenicians to establish colonies. Also, one of the colonies became the ancient Carthage. In the north, many other civilizations came and changed history, but the reason for north development in time is linked to its position. It was close to Europe and close to Asia. The trade was present. Meanwhile, the rest of Africa was separate from this place. It was like other continents. And here again, geography is the main reason. Much of its terrain in the middle was jungle or arid places. Here, agriculture couldn't develop as in Europe or Asia. Agriculture was inefficient. There were no draft animals to help in the cultivation of large fields, and even the temperature wasn't the optimal one. A society could have been influenced by other in time, but again, for so much time there was almost no contact between Europe and North Africa to Central Africa. Why? This large desert. The main road was across the Nile Valley. The African people were practically isolated. Because of this, here weren't so many stable borders. Some of them lived in African kingdoms which were more prosperous, some of them in tribal villages, where it wasn't a place to assure an organization over time in which people can grow and prosper. In time, the rest of the world evolved, and when colonialism started, we know what happened. Europeans found these territories, and the massive exploitation that followed wasn't good for the continent either. Of course, due to this contact with these Europeans, it was an advance in technology, but in time until today, it wasn't managed to escape from poverty. Even if some small progress was made in some parts, the majority of today's borders are created by Europeans some time ago. And there are thousands of cultures. Many states here are not economically viable by many points of view. A number of them are landlocked and dependent on the goodwill of their neighbors for their exports. There was no industry back then. There were almost no scientists, teachers, or very educated people to provide knowledge in order for the communities to grow. In our times, where there is a lack of education and principles, there is poverty. And where is poverty, there is a high chance to not exist so many investments in future education. It is like a loop which continues in various forms, and a slow progress was made overall in the continent. But it's not enough. Of course, there are countries and countries. Some of them managed to grow more than others, while in some different countries, local wars existed, and even terrorism. But Africa as a continent stays on a rich place. A rich place in diamonds, gold, iron, uranium, silver, copper, or oil. It still has a lot of them.